The entire landscape changes. A constant battle for brand supremacy. It's time to shake things up again.
For the first pick of the WWE Draft.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and today we will be discussing how the draft will work. But first, an update on some bombshell announcements. Earlier in the week, Vince McMahon has stepped down as CEO of his company and relinquished all power to his daughter, Stephanie McMahon. She then, in turn, has reinstated her husband, Triple H, as executive vice president of talent relations and producer of all shows and pay-per-views. And the first thing Triple H has done is brought back this.
There are moments in life when everything changes in the blink of an eye. Tonight, don't blink. Tonight, we will show you that we are not just the future, we are the now. There is something special in the atmosphere here. This is passion. This is pride. Groundbreaking, defiant, undisputed, and damn sure unapologetic. We are not your kind. We are here. We are live. RNXT. Let us show you.
That's right, ladies and gentlemen, NXT will be heading to Universe Mode. A new feel, a new brand, a whole new agenda. As this NXT is looking to have an infuse of young and veteran talent to make up the best version of NXT it's ever been. A version that which can compete against the likes of Raw and SmackDown as its own separate major brand. It's no longer looking to be just a performance center for incoming talent. No. It is now here to be a game changer. It is now back to be a major player and be another brand fighting for brand supremacy. Triple H wasn't done there. Triple H also stated that him and a few more of the executives backstage will be conducting interviews to look for 3 general managers for each individual brand. The applicants right now are between former executives, former general managers, and even former superstars who will be interviewed during this week. And the 3 general managers that will be chosen for each brand will be announced the day of the draft, right before they make their pick. Triple H said he's going to look for the best candidates that will help bring an edgier product to the WWE, with a little bit of controlled chaos, that is. Triple H feels that this strategy will once again bring the WWE back to the glory days it once had, as we close the books on the Vince McMahon era and open up a new era, as the Stephanie McMahon Helmsley era is finally in full effect, taking over the WWE. With those breaking news out the way, let's talk about how the draft will work. A number of superstars have chosen to withdraw from the draft. Some are still under contract, choosing to withdraw for injury or personal reasons, while others have chosen to leave the company, opting to have their contract terminated by the WWE. Those who are still under contract will have to negotiate their contracts with their desired brands upon their return to action, and the rest will be thrown in to the WWE draft. Wrestlers who have opted in the draft have been thrown into 3 separate pools, of which all 3 brands can choose from. These pools are categorized as the follows: a men's pool, a women's pool, and a tag team pool. But we'll need to know when we'll get the opportunity to hear who these selections are? Well, let me tell you. The first inaugural episode of Monday Night Raw, on which the day of the draft, we will have the top 10 men selected. Then on SmackDown, we'll have the top 10 women selected. And on NXT, to conclude the draft, the top 5 tag teams will be selected. Once the draft has concluded, off air, the rest of the rosters will be filled out, and those selections will be revealed to you at a later date. So that brings us to the brand current champions. Are they eligible to enter the WWE draft? And the simple answer is no. However, there are still the opportunities for champions to switch brands via a trade period. Current champions of each brand are not eligible to be drafted. Current champions are eligible to be traded for a champion of equal value. For example, the NXT champion can only be traded for the WWE champion and vice versa, as Triple H has stated that he wants the titles you currently see on the graphic to represent their individual brands. For example, if the United States champion, Sheamus, is traded for Rey Mysterio, the belts do not change hands. Both men will be switched and given that belt that represents that brand. Rey Mysterio will then be the United States champion, and Sheamus will then be the Intercontinental champion. And that is how current brand wrestlers may switch brands, but the titles will not. Now you're probably wondering, well, currently, Roman Reigns and his cousins, the Usos, aka the Bloodline, currently hold undisputed tag team and world heavyweight gold. What is going to happen with that? Well, that will be revealed later on the show. Well, how will the trade period be determined? Well, Triple H has stated that the trade periods will be coming off back-to-back weeks of your 4 major pay-per-views. So, for instance, after SummerSlam, the week and second week of SummerSlam will be the start of the first trade period. Each brand will have the entirety of each week for 2 weeks to make changes to their roster. Once the trade period is over, no trades can happen until the next trade period has started. Now, since we have found out how the draft and the trade periods will potentially work, let's find out how the draft picks will be selected on the first inaugural episode of Raw, and perhaps the most highly touted match in the series history. It will be a triple threat elimination match to determine which brand gets the coveted first overall pick. The 3 women's world champions will do battle to determine the honor to have the first overall pick. Charlotte Flair representing SmackDown, Becky Lynch representing Raw, and Mandy Rose representing NXT will do battle to determine who wins the first overall pick. If stakes weren't high enough as it is, Triple H has anteed them up just a bit more. We discussed earlier on how that Roman Reigns is currently the undisputed champion. Well, Triple H says that cannot be anymore. We need a champion on Raw and a champion on SmackDown. That the titles for both brands should not rest on just one man. And the same will be said for the tag team, as he feels no one tag team should be able to represent both brands. But he doesn't want to strip them of their title. In the case of Roman Reigns, if either SmackDown or Raw receives the first overall pick, that person will face Roman Reigns on the first episode of Raw for either title. So if SmackDown wins the first overall pick, that person will face Roman Reigns for the Universal Championship. And if they beat Roman Reigns, they will be the Universal Champion on SmackDown. If Raw wins the first overall pick, the winner will face Roman Reigns for the WWE Championship as that will be the title that represents the Raw brand. But he didn't want to just leave NXT in the loop. If NXT shall win this triple threat match, then the person that is drafted first will be the number one contender to Keith Lee's NXT Championship and will face Keith Lee at the first NXT pay-per-view of the year. But we are not done, as that match is only determining the top 10 men selected in the draft. To select the top 10 women in the draft, we will have another elimination-style triple threat match, this time between the 3 current mid-card champions. John Morrison of NXT, the North American champion, Rey Mysterio, the Intercontinental champion of SmackDown, and the United States champion for Raw, Sheamus, will do battle. Once again, the winner gets first overall pick. But there will be no stipulations for that. Just the first person that is the number one overall pick is the first overall pick. Triple H also stated when it comes to Roman Reigns, he and his bloodline members, the Usos, will battle in alternating weeks until one of their titles has been taken from them. That's right. So whoever's first overall pick for this Monday will face Roman Reigns on Raw. Next week, the Usos will face somebody on SmackDown, and it will just keep rotating until somebody has taken titles off the bloodline. And whichever titles the bloodlines lose, they will still be the other brand's current champions. Ladies and gentlemen, the draft is vastly approaching. You do not want to miss it. So many huge opportunities for superstars to gain the first overall pick. So much opportunities for each brand to win brand supremacy in a whole new era. Ladies and gentlemen, you do not want to miss that episode. Please hit that like and subscribe button and that bell notification button to be notified when another video drops. As next week, the draft will start Monday Night Raw, SmackDown, and NXT hosting the draft. Ladies and gentlemen, that will do it for me. You have been watching The Undisputed Era, and I'll catch you on the next one.